what is emotional support?
And what does it look like, feel like? How do you know how to define it for yourself and others? We'll get into that right after this. Hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
Welcome to another live with Jason and Tina Marie. That's me.
Hey, guys. How you guys doing out there?
All right. We are back with another live conversation. How has your week been, Jason?
My week has been excellent, baby. I've had a very good week. I mean, I think after last week, I had no stress. So this week has been perfect. Right? So I learned how to reduce the stress. So I took a lot of lessons from last week
Okay.
and I implemented them. And I said, things are not going to bother me this week. So that's what I worked on.
Oh, how did that go?
You know what?
Were you
I
able to
was
actually recognize some of the things that
because
caused you
I
stress?
was more in control.
Okay.
And I knew that, you know what? This is one of these triggers. I don't want to be triggered.
Okay.
Right? So I need to watch this. So, I mean, but that's what I needed. I needed to understand what triggered me. Right? That's the only way. First, you got to understand. First, you
Right.
got to recognize it.
Right.
Then you can repair it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that's what this week was all about understanding and then start repairing. So it was a good week because I said, hey, you know what? This is one of them tripwires. I don't want to go down this road. Let me stop. Let me get back in control. So that was a good week.
So if you're wondering what we are talking about, last Friday we talked about managing or mastering stress. And if you missed that one, go back and watch the replay on Legendary Relationships. So tell them where they can reach us, Jay.
They can reach us. They can reach us at legendaryrelationship.com or on YouTube at Legendary Relationship, Facebook at Legendary Relationship,
Our website.
legendaryrelationship.com,
All right.
or Instagram at Legendary Relationship.
All
My man
right.
Dennis is in the house. In it to win it. My man.
To win it. All right. That's what we are here for. We are in life to win at life. All
Yeah.
right. So let's get into the conversation. What else do we need them to know before we jump into this conversation?
The book. We're in the process of, like I said, writing a book.
All right.
So we're getting real close to a release date. So I want you guys to be ready.
Be ready so you can go in and put in your pre-orders.
Yeah, we're going to do pre-orders.
That's right. So you got to do the pre-orders.
I tell you, it'll be a perfect Christmas gift.
That's right.
I'll just say that.
To yourself, if not to your mate.
Right, right. Even, if you're in a relationship or not.
Not yet.
Not yet.
And that way, when you get in that relationship,
Oh,
you know how to
oh,
master
you're
it.
knocking right out the park. You'll be good at it.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So, what else did we cover? Make sure that you guys listen to the podcast. So, this is our Loving Beyond the I Do podcast. Make sure you go and listen to it at either Loving Beyond the I Do or at Legendary Relationship.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
on
right.
our YouTube channel.
Yep.
All right. Is there anything else that we may have missed?
I don't think so. I think we might have covered everything.
So I think we talked about the vacation
Yes.
from last week. I know
Yes,
there
a
were
little
some
bit.
things. So let me put this,
Uh-oh.
I
Okay.
didn't wait to the end till I get more people. Okay.
Okay, no,
Put some, no. So as we get into this conversation, let's put this disclaimer out. All right. So I have another one at the end, but this is a disclaimer. Make sure that as you are discussing emotional support, that your mate has the emotional intelligence to understand and comprehend your needs before you just throw up on them.
Gotcha.
So most of the time we go, well, I need this, I need that, I need the
And
other.
you just give them everything.
And you're giving them everything, and they not only cannot receive it or understand it, but you're giving them too much at one time, right? It's just like somebody dumping a whole bunch of, if you were in second grade, someone dumping a whole bunch of algebra on you, right? You have to make sure they have the emotional intelligence to listen, to comprehend, to understand. And if you are in a relationship, make sure that you have it for yourself. Right? Make sure you understand what it means to have emotional intelligence.
And that's no slight to anyone. We're talking about, emotional intelligence, not saying that you're slow or anything like that. It's that you just have to be ready to go at that time. You just have to be when I say go, I mean like uh, be fully engaged in the conversation.
Okay.
And a lot of times when they're not engaged in the conversation, it's like, I want to talk and I'm going to give you all about how
Right.
I feel. And
Right.
they can't mentally handle it. And then now
Right.
you feel like you slighted because they're not paying any attention to you. So what you need to do is just to make sure, hey, check in. Hey, are you getting me? Or do you understand what I'm saying? Um, I just want to be able to make sure I come across clear. It's nothing worse than talking to someone and they not paying any attention to what you're saying, right? Especially when you start talking about your emotional needs and what you're looking for. And you want to make sure that you're able to give it and they're able to receive it. And we'll talk about some ways to how to work through that. But just say, look, I'm going to tell you exactly what I need and this is that. But you got to make sure that you have a receiver on the other end.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what is it when we talk about emotional support, right? So, I know when we often talk,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think the most important thing for people to understand is that we have to really, truly, what is emotional support?
Right.
So, somebody says in a relationship, I'm not supported, my mate doesn't support me, or I don't feel love, I don't feel respected or needed or validated. A lot of those things come from emotional support. So make sure that it means understanding the needs and wants of your partner, right?
Ooh,
Being able to understand them and then being able to really validate their needs,
right.
right? Which means that if they have needs or wants or if they feel that things are a certain way, being able to listen to them with the intent to hear, not with the intent to respond.
Okay.
So being able to be validated. Also, giving your partner empathy. Lots of times, our partner comes to us with a lot of
Yeah.
problems and we
And
just
we short on empathy. Yeah, yeah. Because
right,
first of all, we feel attacked. So
right.
it's hard to be empathetic when you're feeling attacked, right?
Or if they just have an issue, we just don't
Well,
really
or
care.
like I said, a lot of time we don't understand. I mean, if you say you feel a certain way,
Right.
and if I can't really understand what you're saying, then there's nothing that I can actually, I can't,
You
I
can't
can't
offer
feel for you. I can't offer you anything.
right. Right. So, when we're talking about these live conversations, we want to know from you all, what do you think, what is your definition of emotional support? Right? What does it mean to you? Because if you can't define what is emotional support to you and you're not supplying it to yourself, then our biggest thing is, how can I expect my partner to give me something that I'm not even sure what it
Exactly.
is or what I need? We put
Yep.
these unrealistic expectations on other people of what they should know what we need. No one thinks like us. No one feels like us. No one experiences things like us. So how could we possibly expect our partner to know what we need if we don't even know? If we're not even clear and concise, right? We're not able to effectively articulate
Right.
what our needs are to
Right.
ourselves, right? We
Exactly.
have to be able to explain
Because
it to
it's
ourselves.
confusing. I mean, it's emotion, so we're confused about it. We don't know, and now we're trying to express it, and sometimes it just don't come across clear. So if it doesn't come across clear, I'm not going to receive it clear. We're not going to get any clarification or any clear understanding of what's going on. Sometimes me trying to express my emotional state
Right.
can cause an argument.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
so I, I I'm
Especially
I'm
like you
trying to
said,
fix something, but I'm actually
but
breaking it
right, right. If we're
by
so if I'm not able to effectively communicate that,
right.
so then it goes back to being an active listener and an active and being able to effectively communicate it to my partner.
Right.
So I want you to give me something,
Right.
but then I am not even sure or I'm not effective in expressing that to you.
Exactly. And it's
Right.
confusing when it comes out. So I don't
Absolutely.
understand. I don't understand what you're getting. Oh, trying to give me, right? So then I'm going, hey, what are you saying? So now you get agitated because you're trying to express your
Right.
feelings.
Right.
Now we have a big ball of mess. Right? When
All
all I
right.
wanted to do is just tell you exactly what I
Or
wanted.
be able to express it. All
Right.
right. So let's see if we are okay. All right. So
So yeah, I mean, like we said, what does emotional support mean to you?
right. So we want you to put into the comments, what is emotional support? So we hear those words. It's like another buzzword
Of
going
course it
around, right?
is. Yes.
We often hear these buzzwords: effective communication, communication is key, being able to, talk to your partner or like we said, emotional support or being there. We hear all of these little buzzwords, but what do they actually mean?
Right.
What do they mean to you in your relationship? So this is a live conversation because we're coming to you live to be able to give you the opportunity to speak with us, to let us know what your needs are. How do you define things? What is it in your relationship that you may be unaware of,
Right.
that you may not be doing in the best way?
I thought last week was good because thought I was handling stress pretty good, but it brought it to the forefront this week,
Right,
and I
right.
actually worked on it, which is key. Yeah.
So, if like I said, let us know what emotional support is. When I know when we're dealing with our clients, we have to be able to ask them, what is it that, what is it in your relationship right now that you feel that you may be neglected in the
Hmm.
emotional support, and being able to tell your partner that in a very concise way helps them to break it down and understand without like you said, being intimidated or being feeling like they're being attacked or have to come back with a rebuttal. Well, I didn't do that because of XYZ. We have to be able to understand to, how can I get my point across of what I need? How can I feel validated, right?
Right.
So oftentimes
That's the important part.
oftentimes we may, during the time that we're feeling like we're not being right, as we feel
Hmm.
like we're being what do the young folks say?
Gaslight.
Gaslight or whatever it
Yeah.
is, right? So when you're being gaslight or gaslit, or somebody's going to tell me what the correct terminology is, but
Right. Gaslighting.
gaslighting, right? So that's the point in time where me as a partner or you as a partner, we have to understand that, hey, I may not see it that way. And this, my partner is not attacking me because her purpose is to express to me, or him to express to me, how they feel neglected.
That's what
What
you
am
need.
I doing wrong? Right? So let me at least take this moment to be able to shut up, sit down, hear what my partner is saying,
Hmm.
and then be able to give them validation. Sometimes that's all people need.
I
I
know.
just want to be heard and then understood. Can you understand where I'm coming from? Right? I don't need you to say, um, that wasn't the case. I don't
Yeah.
need you to respond in a manner that,
Well, I can only speak from a man's point of view
oh, I guess that's
because
why
I'm
I
a
don't
man.
speak. I'm
We're
a
gonna
man.
jump in. We're gonna try to fix it, right? So if you come into us with me, well, I'll say me. If you come into me with a situation,
Okay.
immediately I'm gonna try to fix it. I'm going to say, hey, no, that wasn't the case. This is this. I love you, and this, that, and the other,
So
and that may
do
not be
you
what you
think you're
need.
trying to fix it? Or do
Yeah,
you think you are trying to sometimes, are
I'm
you trying to
one. I'm
fix it,
trying to fix it.
or are you trying to argue your point as to why you did what you did?
Well,
Most of the time
well,
people
if you,
are trying to fix it.
well, here's the thing:
Mhm.
if the emotional support is about me, I'm trying to fix it, and I'm trying to get my point across. I'm just trying to be. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
So that's what I'm saying. So if we're talking about emotional support and I'm telling you,
Right.
right, we're using the I statements.
Right.
I'm telling you, this is how I feel. This is how I would like to be treated. This
Mm-hmm.
is how I perceived this action.
Mm-hmm.
But yet your response to me is, well, that wasn't it. You're not fixing the problem. You're making the problem worse. You're actually putting gasoline on
Oh
that
boy.
gas. So I guess that's where the phrase comes, gaslighting,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're actually putting gasoline on something that I'm trying to discuss. All right. So let's
Okay.
see what this one says.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, okay. Man thinks logically, or at least logically, not
Men
emotionally.
think logically.
Well,
Well, now
logically,
let
we're
me
trying to
break down
fix it. That's
emotionally.
right. We're trying to fix it. Logically, we're going through trying to fix it and taking our emotions out of it.
Well, that's not all the time. So you want to say, so to say that men
Mhm.
think logically,
Majority of the time, yes.
majority, so that's the group, but oftentimes the reason why men cannot validate you is because they don't want to think emotionally.
Of course they
They don't
don't.
want to get emotional. So
Right.
it's not that you don't
No.
think
No.
emotionally.
No. No. No.
Now you're not, now women are the emotional beings, right?
Right.
So
I mean, men can
but
do it, but we
but
don't
we
want the same week.
but the problem is, well, the with women,
Hmm.
we can think and we can feel.
I know you can. Right.
So we're telling you this,
Hmm.
we're thinking
Hmm.
that if I express what I'm saying, I want you to receive it. So if you're thinking logically,
Right.
you should be able to comprehend what I'm saying,
Right.
but then digest it in a manner where let me give this. That's where the empathy comes in.
That's true.
This is where the understanding comes in. This is not where you say you try to defend your stance.
Right.
So we're not looking. So if we're discussing an issue, I'm not looking for you to solve it. I'm looking for you to understand it. And that's where we get lost in emotional support.
That's true. And this is where paraphrasing comes into play.
Yeah, paraphrasing.
Right. So this is where paraphrasing comes into play because I first need to repeat back what you
Absolutely.
said so that we're on the same page. So if I can understand that you're saying this and I repeat it back to you, then I know that we're on the same page. But it's in small chunks. You can't like talk for 10 minutes and then say, you understand what I'm saying? I'm like, some of it, but not all of it.
So go back to that previous comment, right? That women are emotional.
Yep.
Right? We think emotionally. If you understand, again, back to the understanding, if you know as a person how you receive information and you know that you're not receiving things emotionally, maybe that's the area in which you need to work on so that you can understand your partner
I totally agree.
when these type of
I totally agree.
when these type of conversations come up.
100%.
Because if you're still approaching emotional support for yourself and your mate in that manner and it hasn't gotten you anywhere, then the whole point is to recognize, what am I doing wrong? What am I not comprehending? What am I not understanding? What am I not able to connect with so that we can have a connection, an emotional connection, right? Because a relationship is built on an emotional connection. It's supposed to be.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So not
The
just
one that's
sexual.
right. The one that's high.
Right. So emotionally, we're supposed to be connected. That's what people want. I want to feel attached to you. I want to feel connected to you.
Right.
So if you cannot connect to me when I'm expressing where I feel neglected, then that's an area where you need to say, right, awareness.
Right.
I'm not able to connect emotionally when my partner is expressing themselves where they need emotional support. Let the key word emotional. So let me work on that area of myself
For sure.
so that I can understand, what does my partner need? What does this mean to my partner? We have to take on the responsibility of finding out for ourselves where we lack before we can expect somebody else to understand.
That's why that we go back to the beginning when we talked about emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
You have to have emotional intelligence to have these type of conversations.
Again, back to the word emotional, right?
Right.
So
Right.
the key word in all of this, we have
Except-
to,
but everybody-
emotions are in there.
Right. Sometimes conversations.
They really can't. All right, Dennis says, "Well, Tina, we try to solve the problem. I think
No,
maybe
go ahead,
okay.
finish the
We try
comment.
to solve the problem when sometimes women don't want it to
Want to
be
be
solved.
solved.
Exactly. Just want men to listen. Men are from right. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
And that's true. And that's where paraphrasing comes into
Well-
play because first they want to vent a lot of times, but they also want you to be able to make sure that you understand where they're coming from. And if I can paraphrase and make sure that I'm in the same space you are with what you're saying, then they feel relieved, like you get me. And that's all they want in the end is to make sure that they're being understood. So if I say, is this what you're saying? And she goes, yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, now I understand. Now we can go a little bit further, right?
Now I think, as what Dennis said, women want to be heard.
Right.
And it's not just women, it's anyone.
Right.
Not only do we want to be heard, but by you stating that, you now paraphrase, now we're looking for you to solve the problem. But first we want to be heard.
Right. But
First we
you
want
can't- you
first
can't-
we want validation.
Right. You cannot solve a problem that you don't understand.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm paraphrasing. So I make sure that
Exactly.
I understand.
Exactly. And going back to Dennis's statement, most of the time, he said most of the time women just want to be heard. Okay.
Everybody wants to be heard. Yep.
It's not that we want to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to hear what we're saying and understand it.
There you go.
So now when you come back and you paraphrase, now we know that you are comprehending what we're saying, which means that now once you have the understanding, we can now solve the problem.
There you go.
Because if I'm telling you that I don't feel emotionally supported, and you're now defending which you may think you're solving the problem.
Right.
To solve the problem, you must first understand what the problem is.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So, Dennis, we must first understand what the problem is before we can jump into solve mode.
Right.
Right?
And sometimes you know how like you already know the answer to a question, right? So you're like jumping to get in. So someone says something, and you right ready to answer. Like, yeah, that would have been an answer had I said the question this way. But now that I finished the question, I said it this way.
Exactly.
That answer isn't incorrect.
Finish.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So that's why we got to make sure we totally understand.
Exactly.
Was there
All right. So
I was just gonna catch Dennis and see what he said.
honestly, I have learned from this, from you guys. What?
In previous episodes, I'm learning, guys. There you go, Dennis. That's what I'm talking about. We
And
all learning, man.
exactly, because not only are we learning, but we have the tendency to revert back to our old habits.
Oh my gosh.
So, Dennis, I know at the beginning of this year, we were talking about being able to elevate, right? Mindset. Everything that we do has to come from a shift in mindset.
Yes.
We can't operate and think and feel and do the same things the way we've always done.
Right.
Otherwise, we're not going to be able to elevate.
That's right.
If I keep trying to solve these problems, I hear a little bit, I implement a little bit, and then I forget it and I go resort back to my old habits, then I'm doing it the same way. I haven't learned anything. So the whole point in us having these conversations is not only to learn from it, but to apply, right?
Yeah.
It's applied learning. If I learn how to add and I never use it, case in point, right? Spanish. Used to know how to speak Spanish. Stop using it. Stop applying it. Now I can just understand a little bit, but I can't speak it. It's like with anything. I used to be able to do a lot of things.
Right.
I go back and I go, wow, like I knew this like the back of my hand. So we have to not only learn new ways of doing things in our relationship, but then apply it and keep applying it and constantly applying it, right? To understand what are we doing wrong and how do we get it right, which means that we obviously weren't taught or didn't understand or didn't get the knowledge on how to do it the right time. So that's why we're learning. But now that we're learning together, Dennis, we can continue to elevate by now applying. So when we have those conversations, you can now sit back and listen. Then you can say, I understand, or let me see if I understand where you're coming from. Now you're going to paraphrase or repeat back to your partner what they said to you because we have to get an understanding.
We do.
So,
and that's the next thing, right? It's kind of like once you get understanding, you got to find out what you're looking for, right? You just can't go into a conversation and be like, I'm going to say all of this and hope for the best, right? Because what you do, you just like, I'm going to say my points and that's it.
right,
And then
right.
I'm going to try to figure out where you going with these points, and we're going to end where we're going to end, right? What is your end game? What are you looking for? If I'm coming to you telling you that I need emotional support, what kind of help am I looking for? Am I coming with just the problem, or am I coming with the problem and probably a solution? This is really what I'm looking for as far as an outcome. Now, that's how you solve it.
You know what's fun as you were talking, it took me back to that live that we had with Eddie and Christina on, right? And we were all talking, and Dennis said you guys were gonna get in the doghouse, right? Because we were talking. So with guys, you guys find out what we like, and then you just keep giving us the same thing over and over and over
because we want to make you happy.
But this is the thing. Going back to emotional support, I may need let's go to I may need you to give me today a hug.
I know.
Right? Tomorrow, I may need your emotional support in the form of positive talking.
Yes.
Right? Positive reinforcement.
And
you
we
can
have to
do
get
it.
better
You
at
can do
that.
it.
Right.
And then the next day, next week, I may need you to give me a rub down, right? I may need you to sit there and just hold me. Right? We have to understand emotional support changes with every scenario. It's
true.
not a one-stop shop.
I know.
So that's why I said it was funny when you and Dennis were talking about we're trying to solve the problem, but you can't solve the problem if you don't understand what problem you're solving.
That's the situation, right? We know we have our go-to, right? So we know what we know that's going to work, right? So she likes this, we're going to give her this. We're going to make sure that we give her this, and then she'll be happy, right? Because our goal is to make you happy. But then
Your
if you're
goal is
coming
to
to
make
us
you
for
happy. The goal is to make the
well,
relationship happy.
okay, but if you're happy, then I feel like I'm happy, and then the relationship is happy. But here it is. If I come to you and try to give you some old fix
Right.
that you don't need, like if you need some emotional support and you need to be held or you need to have some comforting words, and I'm giving you a motivational speech, that's just not cutting it at this
That's
point,
that's
right?
what
I'm
that's
missing the mark, right?
exactly.
So
Exactly. But it goes both ways.
I understand.
I need to be able to know as a man,
Right.
knowing that you think intellectually,
Hmm.
right? Knowing that you try to solve problems and knowing that you're not going to break down emotionally like women do.
Right.
So if something's bothering you, we have to be able to have that conversation up front so you can say, hey, honey, last week I was feeling a little stressed.
Yeah.
When I get like this,
Hmm.
this is what I need from you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
This is, I may not be able to express it. I
Right.
may not even be able to say it, but now that that's passed, this is what I need. Or because otherwise I will come to you and say, hey, you cut me off.
Hmm.
You shut me out.
Right.
And now I'm upset. But the truth of the matter was that you needed emotional support. So now you have to be able to find ways, men, right? Men and women have to be able to find ways to express what you need from your partner so that I'm not sitting in the back going twiddling my thumb saying, well, what does he need? Well, what's wrong with him? Well, why is he
Yeah.
not talking to me?
You know what's funny is it takes me back to when one of the kids were being born, and you're in labor.
We were in the labor room. What
We're in the labor room. Lord have mercy.
you gonna say?
And
Right.
at that point, there's nothing that you can do, right? I'm reaching for all my bag of tricks, right? I'm rubbing this, I'm touching this, I'm doing this. Nothing is working. I felt hopeless, right? I'm like, I'm trying, but everything that I did really irritated her. So at that point, I was making the situation worse. But I was trying. But at labor, that was a different type of support she needed, and I was just giving her everything else. I mean, like, hey, normally if I held her and I talked to her, I can get past that, right? Because that's basically what she's needed up to that point. But this was some different type of pain, I guess, that she was going through. That wasn't working, and I didn't know how to go to the next level, and I just had to just set off to the side by myself because I didn't really know how to support at that point.
Right. And
So,
that brings me to what we're talking about, right? Key
yep.
points. Being able to express it enough and have open dialogue in your conversation where when you sit down, it needs to be a safe space, right? So we have to
Oh,
be
that's the
able to,
first thing.
right. So we have to make sure that we are emotionally intelligent to receive what our partner is saying. And my thoughts are if you're in a relationship, then you have to ask yourself, am I emotionally intelligent? Am I ready to have the type of relationship that I want? Because if I'm still thinking the way I think and doing the things that I used to do,
Ooh,
I'm not going to have the relationship that I want.
right.
So when we sit down in these safe spaces to talk about these things, we have to be open and receptive, knowing that no one is being attacked. No one has to be on the defense, right? Or the offense. We're all sitting here to one, understand what we need, but I have to know what I need.
Right.
You have to know what you need. And then we have to be able to communicate it effectively so that it can be received. It has to go with a back and forth dialogue, right? I have to be able to express to you, is this what you're saying? When
Mm-hmm.
you do this and I do this, you would like for me to do this, right?
Right.
I have to be able to express that back to you in the same manner in which you're giving it to me. Otherwise, it serves no purpose, right? So we have to not only know what we want, be able to express, as I said, articulate what we want, but then be able to receive what our partner needs, digest it, understand it, and then be able to apply it into our relationship. If he needs something and he tells me that he needs it, but yet I fail to apply it, then what is the purpose of this relationship? And that's what so
Right.
many people feel like. They feel lonely.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm in a, you ever heard that it's two ways, right? I'm alone, but I'm not lonely.
Right.
Well, sometimes we're not alone
And
and
we're
we're
lonely.
lonely.
Yeah.
You're right, exactly.
So that takes me to um a thing that when I go to express something, I don't really know what I want or I don't know how to express it. So,
Talking to the audience.
yeah, I
All right.
don't know how to express it, right? I know I feel something. I know I want to get something off my chest. And I start to say it, but it's not totally flushed out in my head. But I feel like this is a conversation we need to have. So halfway in, it may not be coming across clear, and this is where we start to say, "Hey," paraphrasing, right? We start to go down that road, and as we're going down that road, we're starting to flush out my feelings and what I really need. So when I started the conversation, I didn't necessarily have everything in place, which is okay, but I had enough courage to start the conversation to have it. And then we going back and forth like, was this what you mean? It's like, no, not really. I sort of feel like that, but I really kind of feel this way as well, right? And then we just kind of go back and forth. And I find that the conversation is more rewarding as I continue to find what I'm really looking for in the end. So as far as emotional support.
Um, when we talked about last week, right, managing stress, the first thing was being aware. And as I'm listening to you, I'm listening saying we have to be aware, right? We have to be aware of the signs, the
Mm-hmm.
resentment,
Yep.
the pullback from our partner, right? The quietness that we're getting,
Yeah.
the cold shoulder, these things, or me as a person, when I need to express, when I've gotten to a point where I feel that I'm not being emotionally supported,
Mm-hmm.
I can't just come and just
Yeah.
throw up all over you, right? You
Sure.
don't do this, you don't do that, I don't have this, you didn't
Yeah,
do that.
that's not gonna work.
Though that's not going to be
That doesn't
received
help. I'll
either.
say that.
That shows that I don't have emotional intelligence,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
Yep.
So not only as a partner do I have to be able to receive it, but as a person, first I have to make sure I'm giving it to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Do I support myself emotionally? Am I taking care of myself mentally?
Right.
Am I trying to do everything for everybody and then when things falls apart, I need somebody to support me, but
There's nobody
I
to
put
support you.
myself
Right.
right, right. So we have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves mentally, emotionally, as well as physically.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to do those things for ourselves. It's sort of like I have to know how to love me so that I can be able to love you. It's the same thing with emotional support. Not only do I have to be able to express it, but I have to be able to show it to myself. I
Okay.
have to know that I'm worthy of it. All right. Mildred Watson. Hey, Mildred.
Hey, Mildred.
Absolutely. Awareness is everything. Helps you to shift when necessary.
For sure.
All right. And so who is this?
Uh,
Our favorite Dennis. I'm definitely a backslider. Oh, I can say I
Don't
come
worry.
back every week to acknowledge that I need to check myself. Do I backslide? Yes, but I see myself moving forward because I may post, then I think of Tina and Jason and say to myself, delete that crap. Way to go.
Way to go, Dennis.
Hey, Dennis, you don't have to think about us. I want you to think about what you want.
Yeah.
And you know how the saying goes, when you start to elevate, you'll lose a few friends.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to elevate, you'll lose a few things that you used to do that no longer serve you and you
Right.
don't even feel the need to do them. So think about yourself. Ask yourself, is this giving me what I need in my
Mm.
relationship? This person is saying something, and we have a tendency to navigate or attract, what is the word, to attract to negative things,
Oh, of course we do.
right?
Yes.
So when we see something negative, we go, oh, that's exactly how I feel. But if you don't want to feel that way, stop letting those things be attractive to you. So I want you to think of Dennis. Ask Dennis, Dennis, what do you want in your relationship?
Yeah.
What do you want to be able to um experience? What do you want to be able to say to your mate? Will they receive it? What do you want to be able to hear? What do want in your relationship so that it starts to go smoothly? And so I want you to think of when you see stuff and you get ready to post it, ask yourself, is this in alignment? Right? Because we talk about alignment, right? Our cars,
Yep.
right? They tell you go get an oil change and what?
A will alignment.
Alignment. Why do you think you need an alignment?
So you don't have to struggle going down the road. You can
You
just stay on the
don't have to
road.
struggle going down the road. I couldn't have said it any better.
Yep.
Right? You don't have to struggle going down the road. Because what, Jay?
Because you got a will alignment.
You got to will.
You're
You're
all in
aligned.
alignment.
So, Dennis, before you post, ask yourself:
Is this
Is
in alignment with me?
yep?
Yep.
Well, what I want, what
Yeah.
I'm thinking, and
I've
what I'm
seen some of
feeling.
those most Dennis. I just sometimes I just shake my head. I said, okay, all right.
Some of them are funny,
Yeah, they are
right?
funny.
Some of
Majority of them are, yeah.
right, but we have to remember, Dennis, are we applying every single? We have to be conscious of our conscious decisions
Oh, yeah.
because the subconscious takes over all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what else we have. That's right.
Yep. You have to. Yep.
So what would you say to Dennis about when he backslides as a man, coming from a man to a
Don't
man?
be hard on yourself. Don't be hard. It's okay. We're not perfect,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, you know, I backslide, right? I don't always get it right, but I'm working every single time to get it right. That's my goal to myself, right? That's what I say to myself, that I am working to make things better. I'm going to be the best version of myself. That's like I said, I backslide. I don't get it. Sometimes Tina come and talk to me, and I'm just not getting.
You tell put it on
I'm
me.
not getting what you're saying. The conversation isn't going well, and it doesn't end well, right? So these are things that we've had to practice. These are the things that we've coached our clients on. It's different when we're just having this conversation than when you're in the heat of the battle. And it's not all the time. It's
Absolutely.
not a battle,
Absolutely.
but you're having that conversation, right? And you have these emotions that's attached to this conversation, and then you're looking at the person in the eye, and it just creates even more emotions, and you're trying to get your point across, and you're feeling strongly about it. Sometimes we start to accuse people of things, and things take on a life of its own. So yeah, we all backslide. So don't get down on yourself. That's okay. But if your heart's in the right place and you're willing to get better, and you're just like, you know what, I made a mistake. So you know what, I'm gonna get better next time, and that's what we do. So that's fine. That's okay.
Good advice from a man.
From a man.
From a woman, I say stand guard. I say be hard on yourself. If you don't be hard on yourself, you're not going to change.
Well, that is hard. I mean, like, you got to own
I
it. You got
would
to
say
own
be
this.
hard on yourself to a point where like it's depressing,
Mhm.
but I mean be diligent.
Right.
Don't just say, "Oh, well, I do it and it's okay." No.
Oh, no,
Don't
no, no. You got to
expect
own
from
it.
yourself what you would expect from your
Expect
partner.
excellence.
Expect from yourself what you would expect from your kids.
Yes.
Expect from yourself what you would expect from your friends. So if your friend told you they weren't going to do something and they turned around and did it, how would that make you feel?
Yeah.
So that's basically what you're doing. You're
Mhm.
telling yourself you're not going to do something
And then you do it.
and then you turn around and do it. Right?
Mm.
We have to be aware of the things that we need to get rid of.
Yeah. Now, okay. So you could backslide, but you
Yeah,
can't continually.
we're gonna always
But you
backslide.
can't continually backslide and continue to do the same thing.
You can't continually backslide and then make excuses why it's okay for you to backslide.
Right. You got to own your stuff now. You're screwing up. You got to own it.
Dennis likes to own his stuff.
He does. He does. And that's what I love about him.
So, guys, if you're just joining the conversation, we asked you, what is emotional support to you? So just drop us a line. Also, we always tell you that we cannot see who's tuning in through the platform that we're using. So if you want us to shout you out for joining us, we thank each and every one of you for tuning in, for joining the conversation. Drop a line, say hi, say hey family. We just want to shout out your name. All right. So as this moment right here, as you guys are taking the time to put in what is emotional support, what does it mean? I don't want you to look it up on the dictionary. I want you to tell me in your own words, what is emotional support to you? So often we say, I don't get it, but what is it? What is it to you? I want to know. I want to hear from you. That's why we have these live conversations. So I want to interject right here. I want to say two things.
Two things.
While you guys are typing, because I know you're typing.
Mhm.
The first thing is I want to apologize to Christine from last week. So the person's name on the person's name was Christian, and I couldn't see it. For some reason, I couldn't see it. I saw the CHR, and that's pretty much all I saw. So I want to give a sincere apology to Christian, but when I refer to him now, it's going to be Christine, AKA Christine. The other thing is, I want you guys, thank you so much. We have been seeing a lot more shares. We have the leaderboard. And so this week, last week, I think our leader was Blue Sky. This week, our leader is Regina Blakely.
Okay.
Regina
Right.
is
Well, thank you so
always,
much, Regina.
always on the case. Regina won last time.
Mhm.
Regina, if you are listening, please take a picture of you in your shirt and send it to us so that we can display it next week. All right, so it is Regina. Then I think is so we're just gonna say first place because I don't want to get it wrong.
Yep.
So Regina is in the lead right now. So last week we asked you, we do have a competition going on right now, or we want to say our number one fans, our super fans, and then we want to thank you for being our super fans by giving you something. So it's not really a competition, but when you like, share, when you share our posts, share our stories, share our reels, we do get notified. So we are keeping tally of everyone who does that. And the first place winner will receive either a gift card, a t-shirt, a mug, something from our store. We do have a store, a merchandise store. So it's an array of things. And hopefully, as we go on and we do more of this, the prizes will increase and we can give you. We thank each and every one of you for being our super fan.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
So make sure that as you are sharing, you make sure you just say a word. You don't have to say anything. You just hit the share button. Share our stories, our reels, and our post. All right, Vanya.
Hey, Vanya.
Good
Hey,
to
what's
see
going
you.
on, fam?
Good to see you. Glad that you are with us today. All right. Happy Friday to everybody. Continuing to work is key. Yes. Keep moving forward. Don't focus on the negative. Work toward the end result. That's what I always say. What is the end result?
That's the thing, right? So you
Right.
have to, like you always say, start with the end in mind.
Yep.
Right. So when we start to have these conversations, what is the end result?
What
What
do
do
you-
you want it to look like? What are you trying to accomplish? Or are we just talking? No.
What do I want my relationship to look, feel, and be like? And if first of all, if you cannot tell it in detail
Then
what
you
you
can't
want
have
your
it.
relationship to look, feel, and be like,
You can't have it.
let's start from there.
Yep.
And then work back. And then it should be easier for you to be able to take these things as from married couples, from single people, from the comments, from the live, and then apply them in your life to what applies to you, what resonates with you. Everything that we share and everything we talk about may not resonate with you.
Yeah, that's true.
But there are other ways, right? The point is that we have to shift from where we are to where we want to be to have the type of relationship we want.
And we can't be complaining about we don't have the relationship or the other person is the problem, all this other stuff. That they don't support me, they don't have my back, all that kind of stuff. We have to take ownership in what the part that we're playing.
Absolutely. It's sort of like saying, I want more money, and then your boss offers you hours, and then you say, no, I don't want the hours. Like that's just how it is in the relationship.
Yeah.
I want a better relationship. And then we offer you these tools, techniques, or we tell you go read a relationship book or listen to someone who or talk with someone who is exhibiting what you want, and then you go, nah, I know what to do.
No, you know what they say? I'm good. That's the first thing they say. Is, I'm good.
People do say
Right.
that.
So
You're right.
you know it's funny because we have clients.
Steve,
Hey, love, what's going on? Yes, you got it.
Paul,
Hey, love.
thanks for tuning in. That's right. And what we have to understand is that once we start applying these things in our lives, whether we're married or not, then we can attract the relationship that we want.
Yeah.
Right? And it won't be as much work. You know why? Because we had to do the work on ourselves first. I can't expect something different with me showing up the same. If I'm the same person, I'm going to get the same type of relationship no matter who I'm with.
Right. No matter
Whether
who the
my
person is.
husband is Jason, Joe, John, Jacob, Jingerheimer Smith. Right? If I don't change my consciousness, if I don't change my awareness, if I don't change the things that I do, and if I don't learn to become different, which means that the old Tina has to just be like, bye. That's one of those things that has to fall away. The old Tina, the old habits have to fall away, and I have to look at things new. I have to look at them differently. I can't want something different and not think of something differently. It's all in what it starts with me. It starts with me as a partner. So, guys, make sure you're doing the work on you first. Before I can express what I need from my partner, I have to be able to know what I need. I have to be able to know that I'm giving myself all the things that I need first. I can't expect him to take care of me if I'm not taking care of me.
Sometimes
Right?
you don't even know
Your
what
partner,
you
you
want.
be like, well, I want my partner to do this, that, and the other. And they like, well, you're not even doing it for yourself. That's kind of a hard pill to swallow too. All right, we're gonna go to this next one. All right, Nancy Smith
Nancy,
said,
hey, what's going on, family? How are you?
thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in this Friday. We appreciate you. All right. So what do you have to say about this? Let's see how much time we got. So I know sometimes I could just keep on
Yeah,
going.
but that's okay. You have to know what you want. That's the main thing.
You find it that it's hard for you as a male during our
Talks. Okay.
years of marriage.
Oh, okay.
There it
Yes,
goes. Well, there you go. Finish it.
see, I would have got the answer wrong.
You would have got the answer wrong.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's put you on the hot seat.
Okay.
Okay, so do you think that because men don't want to show emotion,
Mm-hmm.
that the conversations when it deals with me feeling like I may have been not being supported emotionally, do you feel as though it was hard for you to communicate that to me or communicate what you were feeling
Yes.
in an
Very,
effective way?
very, very much so. Because I don't know. I can't explain the feeling, right? I don't even know what it is. I'm trying to suppress it. I'm trying to tell you that I do care, but I'm really showing you that I may not be as caring as you would like for me to be. So it's kind of confusing. I'm sending mixed signals saying, yeah, you know what, baby, I care about you. I care about this situation. But I emotionally, I'm not tapped into it, right? I'm like, if I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, I want to stay strong. I want to stay on the surface, right? I don't want to go down there and deal with that. I understand what you're saying and I feel it, but I'm just not showing. I'm not that emotionally invested in trying to get that far down into the situation.
You think that's a problem? You think that's a problem in relationships?
It is a problem.
Because men don't want to get emotional
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
because
problem.
what it makes you guys look weak.
Well, for sure. I mean, society has already put that on us.
But is that true?
No, it's not.
That's a myth, right?
Actually, if you can become more emotional, then you become stronger because now I can express how I really feel. I don't have to try to hold all that in. Again, I go that stress, right? Because you walk around with holding all this stuff in. So now, if you can express yourself, it's freeing. You feel so much better when you can say exactly how you feel without being judged. And that's all men want, right? One thing they want to be is respected, right? And the main way to be respected is to understand, for the woman to understand where he's coming from, how he actually feels, what he's trying to get across, right? His emotional side. But if we hide that, it's hard for the woman to respect us because we're not letting that side out, right? We have needs and wants, but we don't express them. We expect you to just know what we want,
That's true.
and it doesn't happen. Now we feel disrespected. So yes, it becomes a problem in relationships, and this is one of the things that I work with the men on in the relationship is how to get past that blockage, right? How to become better communicators, how to be vulnerable with the person that you love, right? Because sometimes people aren't reachable in their own relationships, right? So husband and wife, the wife can't reach the husband because the husband is like, I'm not letting you into this side of me, right? If we're right here talking, that's fine, but I'm not going back there and letting you in, right? So for whatever reason, and we don't have to go all the way back to our past because we're dealing with the right now, right? Our past is our past, and we're gonna stop blaming stuff on our past, right? We're trying to have a better future, but if we don't take care of the right now, we can't have a better future. So if we want to have these better relationships and have this kind of support and this love and this caring, then we have to be able to be vulnerable with our wives and just say, "Hey, look, I trust you, I love you, and I'm doing this to make us better. And if it makes us better, then we're all happy."
So being able to tap in and express that emotion. So
Yes,
Mildred says, I think non-judgment, patience, honesty, and compassion, when warranted and not warranted, helps the trust helps with trust to bring the walls down one brick at a time.
that's true.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, and
And
that's another thing, right? It's trust. I mean, where do we get this distrust from? So, I mean, that's another thing, right?
I think the distrust it's a buildup of not being supported, right?
There you
So
go.
I feel as though
Lack of
you're not
intimacy as well.
exactly. So if I'm feeling disrespected,
Yep.
right? All that goes into
Yeah.
it. So if I feel like you're not supporting me, then eventually I'm not going to trust you
There you go.
because now I'm not going to trust you with the things that I need to be supported in emotionally.
There you go.
Right? So then it translates to, and then when I do need to be supported, and I'm telling you something, then it turns into judgment, right?
Oh.
We want to judge what our partner should and shouldn't feel.
Oh.
Well, why do you feel that way? Well, why is this? Why? So so many things go into having a relationship because it's the same things that we deal with ourselves.
Right.
We judge ourselves.
Yeah, we do.
We judge ourselves in the things we do.
Yep.
We judge ourselves according to other people. We're always judging. And then when we get in relationships and we have not dealt with the judgment part of us, now we're judging our mate.
Yep.
I have to constantly remind myself, I don't want to judge anybody because I don't want anybody to judge me.
There you go.
Everybody's journey is different. So why am I looking at someone else feeling a certain type of way when it has nothing to do with me? So as Mildred said, being non-judgmental, right? Making sure that we're being heard, making sure that we're being understood, all those things. Honesty. When we feel like we have to be dishonest is because sometimes we do things that are dishonest. And so therefore, if we don't get the answer that we wanted from our partner, then we feel like we can't trust them. Right? Sometimes we go with a question thinking we already know the answer. And that's not even the answer.
Now that's
right?
the problem, right?
Exactly.
Come to me, and you already didn't have the answer, right?
The answer that I think it is.
Right. And if you don't give me the answer that I think it is, now we
Right.
got a situation.
Then I don't trust you.
Right.
I don't trust you because
You didn't give me the answer that I thought you should have given me.
exactly,
Oh my
exactly. And this cycle can get crazy, right? So we go back. So now that I can't trust you, then I'm not going to respect you. Right. So now I'm going to start talking to you. I'm going to start responding to you.
Mhm.
I'm going to start treating you in a manner that I wouldn't want to be treated in because I'm not getting what I want, but I am giving it back. Right. Now
Right.
we go back to that. How can I expect to receive something that I'm not giving? I'm not giving you respect, but I want respect. I'm not giving you love, but I want love. I'm not giving you attention, but I want attention. See, this stuff sounds crazy in relationships. If we talk to ourselves in our head, we're like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Why don't we just stop sometimes? Just stop and ask ourselves to ourselves, what am I doing that I am receiving this back? Sometimes it's what we're giving out. We can't get back, we attract what we give,
Right.
right? We can't attract something different unless we do something different. Right.
I heard
So
that.
all those things that as Mildred said, right? Dennis, I haven't heard from you. Where are you, Dennis?
No, there go Dennis right there. Yeah.
All right, Dennis, let's see what you're saying. When a woman says she is emotionally detached, some of
trouble.
us men are
you in trouble.
confused because no, not necessarily because we don't understand how the woman got in that place.
Yeah.
That's a very good question, Dennis. So
But that's not a good sign when a woman is emotionally detached.
I don't think it's a sign or any I don't think it has anything to do with signs. I think it has to do with going back to understanding.
I understand it, but if
Nope. To me,
okay.
all right, go ahead.
No,
No, you said it.
I'm just saying
Mhm.
if women are emotional beings and now you're emotionally detached, then you're pretty much throwing your hands up with the whole situation.
Um, I disagree.
Okay. And
If
why
a
is that?
woman tells you she's emotionally detached, it means that something in that current relationship or her past relationships has made her put up a wall to protect herself. So now she's a protect, and she thinks that her way to anybody, they think their way to protection is mean I'm not gonna get emotionally attached because I always get hurt.
Well,
So
if you're not emotionally attached in the relationship that you're in, you're not in a relationship.
a lot of men are in relationships. A lot of people are in relationships and they're not emotionally attached. Doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means that I'm not going to wear my emotions on my sleeve. I'm not going to um, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I can be easily hurt.
I think that's too stressful. I think that's too stressful to be disattached in a relationship emotionally. Because if you don't let it out, you're gonna walk around with all this stuff. So you could say that you're detached from the situation, but you're not emotionally detached internally.
So
You're internalizing all of those things that
so
you're not.
Dennis, so why is it confusing when a woman says it, but it's okay if a man expresses it or if a man says it, right? Because if we go back, Dennis, to what you said, then women are the emotional beings, right?
Right.
We always emotional.
Mm-hmm.
But if we tell you we're emotionally detached, it means that I'm not the huggy, feely, show you emotion type of person. It means love me in a different way. Know how to break down my barriers
No, I
so
don't. I
I
don't.
can
I don't.
trust you.
No, I can understand you're not a touchy feely, huggy type person. I get that part, but I don't. I don't know
All right,
about.
let's read up lavas. It's not just a man thing. That's right.
Oh,
I
that's
have a
true.
tendency to do the same as a single professional. I rarely get emotionally invested in relationships because you often get judged, right, or misunderstood corporately, right,
Mm-hmm.
as a black
Mm-hmm. As a black female
female professional.
professional.
I'm still learning how not to let that coldness seep into my personal relationship. In the meantime, just give me Jesus.
Amen. Amen.
And so, and as I said, right, we have to understand women.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess another way could say it is maybe, and so this goes from being able to understand your partner. It could mean that they don't take it personal,
Oh, okay.
right? So if something happens
Mm-hmm.
and it brings me discomfort,
Right.
I'm not going to cry about it, right?
Right.
Because
You don't have to
I'm not,
cry over everything.
I'm emotionally detached. I'm not gonna, as a woman, you guys think we cry over everything, which after I had kids, I pretty much did. And sometimes I have to handle that. It's something about your hormones, right? Before I was hardcore. Nothing really bothered me. I had kids and I came back to work and people were like, Tina, you're different. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm still the same. No, you're nicer. You're softer. Nobody wants to be emotional.
Okay.
Who wants to be in a boardroom and you have to turn around and you talk and then you start crying because you're emotional about what you're talking about. So
That,
sometimes women have to be emotionally
I
attached,
get
and it's
that in
hard.
the professional
Listen,
setting, but I'm talking
but it's
about when
hard
you're
to.
in a relationship with
But I
me.
guess it's hard to turn it off. And it has to deal with the person. We have to go
Okay.
back to the person. We have to go back to their experiences. We have to go back to their relationships. So we have to understand there's more to it
Mm-hmm.
than meets the eye. And I
Okay.
think it's like we talk about onions. We have to peel back the layers in our relationship and get that trust with our mate
Yeah.
so that we can help them.
Mm-hmm.
We can help them lower the wall so that to show that we're trustworthy
Right.
so that they don't have to worry about being hurt. Nobody wants to be emotionally scarred.
Right. That's true.
All
That's
right.
true. I mean, I get that. I
All
get that.
right. So Dennis says, I spent 8 years with my partner. She said I never gave her a safe space as what Mildred Watson said, the trust to bring the walls down one brick at a time. And I honestly agree with my partner due to me not understanding emotional connection.
Yeah. And
So
that's the thing. It all depends on our background. I don't want to. I don't want to use background, but it
our
plays a part,
past.
right? It plays a part, but it's not the main part because the main part is now. Yeah, that's what I learned. That was the past, but this is what I can do moving forward, right? A lot of times we use our past as a crutch,
Yep.
and then we say, "Well, I'm not this way because of my past." But you can learn and you can move forward.
And I would only say, Dennis, I hope that was a learning experience.
Yeah.
As Jason said, we use our past as a stepping stone, as something to help us. Lost of words. That word is ricochet us into the future.
Hmm.
Okay, for lack of better word right now, right? We use that to as a bouncing mechanism to say this is what I used to do because
Hmm.
of this reason,
Yeah.
but now I see it, I'm aware of it, and now I'm going to work on it. Don't expect your mate to tell you what you need to work on because now,
Hmm.
right? Now
Yeah.
we're changing according to our mate. We need to see the things we need to work on
Right.
and be honest with ourselves
Because even
and
if
work on them.
right, because if you change for your mate, you're not going to be happy with who you become.
But you have to change for the better of you,
That's it.
right?
Because if you change, the relationship will change, and then your mate will see the change, and then it'll be
So
better.
often we talk about bringing that baggage from the past, thinking that that's our story. Our story is now. The past helped us become who we are. Let's move on. Let's not bring that same junk. Let's dump them bags. Leave the heavy, big brick backpacks with all that junk from the past. Leave it in the past, and then learn from it. Build on it.
All right.
Build from the bricks. All right. What did Lava say? All right, Lava, we're gonna bring you back up. No taking it personal, exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly. Also, the new thing is setting boundaries. We didn't even get into boundaries. Absolutely. Boundaries can often be a cover up for your past hurt.
Oh yeah.
But we have to realize when we set up these boundaries, they have to be healthy boundaries. They can't just be boundaries not to let somebody in. They have to be boundaries.
Exactly.
They have to be boundaries where we say, this is where I know I don't want this to, I'm not going to let people cross this line
Right.
because it's not healthy for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be able to set up boundaries, but we can't set up boundaries to hide behind.
Right.
We have to deal with the things that other people deal with it. Well, why did that affect me? Why did it bother me? How can I heal from
Right.
it? How
You
can I
need to
learn
learn
from
it. Right.
Exactly. But don't hide behind it. So
Right.
boundaries are truly important because
Don't box yourself in because you got
Exactly.
boundaries, right?
But we make sure people stay within them boundaries.
Right.
Learn to speak up. Don't just set them and then let people walk
boundaries
all
are there
over.
to keep you safe.
All right. All right. Do we have any other comments? Then we're going to get up out of here. All right, guys. Well, that is another wrap for us.
All right.
Remember, right? So we're going to say thank you so much as we continue to count up the leaderboard. Thank you for tuning in. We love and appreciate each and every one of you guys.
One of we will within the next couple of weeks be going to one broadcast on one channel. We'll be moving to YouTube only. So
and I know last week we switched the thing and we had some technical difficulties and you guys couldn't even hear the music from what we played our intro and outro. So we're working through that. Hopefully we're going to get this thing together. Good stuff. Great show. Thank you for tuning in, Lava. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Mildred. Thank you, Nancy. Huh? All right. For some, it takes time to heal from past relationships. My advice is to make sure you have positive support and Jesus. Absolutely. And constantly, let's not make our past the excuse why we do what we do in the future.
yeah, that's true.
We can't grow. You can't live if you're living in the past because now you're just creating the same thing. We have to realize if we want a different tomorrow from what we had today, we have to grow through it. We have to apply what we've learned. We have to consciously remind ourselves. Thank you. Enjoyed your podcast. Thank you, Mildred.
Thank you so
So we
much.
love you guys. And we're going to bring up our shirt, as Dennis said. As always, we're in it to win it.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. We greatly appreciate it.
See you next Friday.
Yep, it's the next one. Yep. Thank you so much. Till next time, guys.